I apologize. All right. Hello. We are working on taxes today. Yesterday was tax day. And so we're going to be continuing Everfi financial literacy program. And we're going to work on two programs today, employment and taxes and tax simulation. So we discussed a little bit about yesterday was tax day and how that works. Our standards, we're going to watch a quick video and then working through these two programs in Everfi Financial Literacy, learning more about local tax, state tax, and federal tax, all of which apply to you as you turn 18 and you get jobs and you get out there working. Even if you're in college and you have income and stuff like that, that can help with your taxes. So all those different scenarios that are important. So we'll watch a quick video and then I'll go over where to find them in Everfi, and then you'll have about 30 minutes to work in Everfi this period. All right, so here we go.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Hill. This is Crash Course Economics, and today we're going to talk about taxes. We're going to talk about why we have taxes, what they do for us, and why you should go ahead and take that raise that's going to bump you into the next tax bracket. Also, rebellions and the British Empire's bad judgment when it came to taxing colonies. While your struggles with taxes and the tax code may seem particularly unpleasant to you today, people have been paying and complaining about taxes for a long time, way longer than any of us have been alive, or our parents, or our grandparents. Ancient Mesopotamians paid taxes in the form of livestock and labor. There are ancient Egyptian texts and tomb scenes showing evidence of taxes, tax collectors, and even tax shelters. Taxation and tax collectors also show up in the Bible over and over. Taxes appear in Scripture as a necessity, like render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. And tax collectors are in there as sinners right up with prostitutes. More recently, in 1927, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote, "Taxes are what we pay for civilized society. Maybe it's time we forgive tax collectors, too." So we've had taxes pretty much as long as we've had records of organized society. But why? What are the goals of taxation? At the most basic level, taxes raise money for government services. Taxes are used to promote the well-being of society, at least well-being as defined by the government in power. They help us afford services markets might not pay for on their own. Things like public safety and national defense and education. Taxes can be used to protect the environment. They can help a country implement fiscal and monetary policies meant to push along economic growth. Taxes can be used as a way to redistribute wealth in a society, from people who have more to people who have less. This can happen in a couple of ways, some more direct than others. An income tax system that taxes high-income earners at a higher rate than low-income earners is one example, and we'll come back to that. Government subsidies and vouchers, like food stamps and housing programs, also shift wealth. So do luxury taxes, basically an additional tax bill on expensive items like jet planes, expensive furs, and that really annoying diamond ring space on the Monopoly board. Governments can also use taxes to try to change people's behavior. Sin taxes on not good for you products like cigarettes and alcohol are meant to reduce consumption of unhealthy products. Gasoline taxes are meant to encourage people to drive less. France passed soda taxes to try to get people to drink fewer sugary drinks. Denmark passed and then got rid of a fat tax on foods that were relatively high in saturated fat. A handful of governments, including those in British Columbia, Ireland, and Chile, have instituted carbon taxes. These carbon taxes basically charge businesses and sometimes households for the amount of polluting greenhouse gases they use or create. These carbon taxes take different forms around the world. Residents of British Columbia, for example, pay an extra 6.67 cents per liter of gasoline as a carbon tax. For those of us in the US, Myanmar, and Liberia who don't use the metric system, that's about 25 cents per gallon. In Chile, power plant operators pay $5 for every metric ton of carbon dioxide that they release into the air. When economists talk about taxes, they sometimes divide them into direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are paid by a person or organization to the government body that imposed the taxes. These include property taxes and income taxes, where there's no intermediary, and I can't pass off the tax burden to someone else. Value-added taxes and sales taxes aren't exactly the same thing, but they're both good examples of indirect tax. They're collected by a store or seller or producer of goods, but they're actually paid by consumers. They're taxes that all consumers have to pay, regardless of how much money they make. A pair of socks at the mall down the street is going to cost me exactly the same as when a billionaire buys that pair of socks at the same store. Some economists say indirect taxes distort market prices and lead to one of the things most dreaded by economists, the Voldemort of economic outcomes: inefficiency. Economists also characterize taxes as regressive, progressive, and proportional. Let's start with regressive taxes. Regressive taxes are typically applied across the board, and on their face they might seem equitable because everyone pays the same amount. But regressive taxes take a higher toll on people with lower income than high-income earners. Sales taxes, especially on essential items, are considered regressive. That's why some places exempt food and prescription drug purchases from sales taxes. Some economists argue that fees for things like hunting licenses, toll roads, and driver's licenses are also regressive. Why? Well, imagine two drivers go to the Department of Motor Vehicles to get a new license. One makes $200,000 a year, the other makes $20,000. Both will pay exactly the same amount for their driver's license. The license fee is a much bigger hit for the lower income driver. And that's why regressive tax takes a disproportionate toll on people with lower incomes. On the other end of the taxing spectrum, there are progressive taxes. Progressive taxes are more or less the opposite of regressive taxes in that they shift the burden of taxation to people who make more money and away from those who make less. In the United States, our income tax is a progressive tax, meaning individuals pay more in taxes as they make more income. But before you start worrying about whether making an extra $100 this year is going to bump you into a higher tax bracket, it's worth understanding how the progressive income tax in the United States works. When the IRS calculates how much you owe in taxes, it uses marginal income tax brackets based on the amount of taxable income you earned in a year. These marginal tax rates represent the highest possible income tax rate you could pay. Right now, there are 7 tax brackets. But no matter which tax bracket you find yourself in, you're not going to pay that rate for your entire income. Instead, your taxable income gets divided up into chunks that correspond to each tax rate, and you pay the associated rate on each of those chunks. For example, say you made $37,450 as a single filer last year. That would put you in the 15% tax bracket, but you'd still pay the lower 10% rate on the first $9,225 you made. So if you took the extra $100 and made $37,550, you'd be bumped up to the 25% tax bracket. But again, you'd only pay 25% on that extra $100. Your effective tax rate would be lower. The other thing you got to keep in mind with U.S. income taxes is there are a huge number of tax credits, tax exemptions, and tax deductions that reduce the amount people owe. So your tax bill will never be as painful as that 25% tax bracket might make you think. Many other countries around the world have their own progressive income tax systems, but it turns out it's difficult to measure just how progressive any country's total tax system is, especially compared to another country. It's not as easy as looking at countries with the highest marginal tax rates and deciding they have more progressive tax policy, because so many other taxes and tax breaks come into play. In the US, some economists argue the progressiveness of our income tax code offsets the regressiveness of many other taxes we pay, if progressiveness and regressiveness are even words. So we've covered regressive and progressive taxes. The third type of taxes are proportional taxes. Proportional taxes require the same percentage of income for all taxpayers, regardless of how much they make. A flat tax is an example of a proportional tax. You'll hear politicians touting flat taxes, in part because they're relatively simple compared to the US's current incredibly elaborate tax code, and because they kind of feel fair. Imagine a flat tax of 10%. The woman making $200,000 ends up sending $20,000 to the government, while the guy making $20,000 sends only $2,000. They both feel a 10% pinch. Economists who oppose the flat tax say that feelings have no place in the tax code. They argue a flat tax isn't as simple or as fair as it seems. For one, they say that getting rid of all the tax deductions and exemptions and credits we mentioned earlier could change a whole lot of the economic decision-making that happens, from saving for retirement and tax-protected accounts to home ownership and donating to charities. All those activities are encouraged by the tax code we have now. Like we mentioned before, there are economists who argue the progressive income tax in the US offsets some of our other more regressive taxes. They say a flat tax would shift the total tax burden away from the wealthy to the lower and middle classes, actually making our broader tax policy more regressive. All of this is complicated, even if it sounds simple. Before you buy into anyone's plan to reform the tax code, take the time to really read into what it might mean to the economy, and make sure you're comfortable with all the implications. Speaking of implications of tax policy, they can be incredibly serious and fascinating. A poor tax choice by a government can and has resulted in rebellions. Let's go to the thought bubble. One tax rebellion you've probably heard of is the American Revolution. After the 7 Years' War ended in 1763, Great Britain had a huge debt to pay off. It needed to raise revenue from somewhere and look toward the colonists in America. In 1764, the British Parliament started taxing molasses sales. In 1765, they enacted the Stamp Act, which added taxes to paper and legal documents. Colonists grew more and more frustrated with British officials, both with tax policies and other interventions. Anyway, you know how it goes. No taxation without representation, Boston Tea Party, a big war, the French get involved, and we end up with a free America, with taxes and representation, except in Washington, D.C. More recently, in India, there was another super interesting tax rebellion called the Salt March. In 1930 India, the British were in charge, and they had laws in place that outlawed Indians from collecting or selling salt. Instead, they had to buy it from a British monopoly, which collected an 8.2% salt tax. Mohandas Gandhi decided to defy the SALT Act by walking 240 miles to the coast of the Arabian Sea to gather tax-free salt. Along his route, more and more Indians joined him in the peaceful civil disobedience. He got to the beach, picked up a piece of salt, and broke the law. Thousands of others followed his lead, making and selling non-British salt in a non-violent resistance. The Salt March was extensively covered in newsreels and newspapers, and it brought international attention to the largely non-violent Indian struggle for independence. All that because of taxes. Thanks, Thought Bubble. Of course, there are other ways to get around paying taxes you don't want to pay, other than fighting or starting a mass civil disobedience movement. Based on historical documents, we know people have been running away from paying taxes for years, some literally picking up and leaving their homes. Other people have discovered career paths that get them out of tax bills. Historians think that some European men became monks during the Middle Ages to avoid being taxed. There's proof that some Chinese men joined Buddhist monasteries to get out of paying taxes. There is plenty of room for disagreement over how big government should be and what it should and shouldn't be doing. All those discussions matter to you as a taxpayer and as someone who benefits from taxation and government services. But as we've said time and time again, there's some services the market just won't provide, some protections it won't guarantee. No one likes paying taxes, but we do like what they do for us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching Crash Course Economics. It's made with a
Okay, I think she makes the point, a couple good points, that at the end of the day, the tax system is super complicated, all right? But the necessity to pay some tax is the only way to have a civilized society. We have to pay for services, education, roads, first responders, healthcare. We have basic things that we want, and we have to pay for them. Where the disagreements come in, right, is on the spectrum politically of how much of my money should I give to the government and how much should I be able to keep? How much is the government responsible for me and how much am I responsible for me? And this becomes in the political debate, right, depending maybe on the topic, life experiences, background. There's a lot of things that can go into that, all right? But at the end of the day, we have to pay some tax. The big question that just becomes how much. Nobody's ever excited to pay taxes, but the reality is when people say, well, I want the government to pay for that, that isn't the government paying for it, that's taxpayers paying for that. So that's an important distinction to make. You know what I mean? That anytime people say, I want the government to pay for that, know that that means the more the government provides, the more they have to tax because we are their income source. The government is not an income source. We are their income source. So if the government's going to do more, they have to take more. Money in, money out is the way that goes. All right. So let's jump over into Everfi and take a look at the two that we're going to be working on today. All right. So when you log into Clever, you're going to go into Everfi. So I'll take you through that really quick. Okay. So once you're in Clever, right, you're going to click on the Everfi tab and you're going to log into Everfi. Now, your tabs look a little different than mine, right? Your programs look a little bit different than mine. They're cuter, they're smaller. You have money moves, marketplace, and financial literacy. We're going to be in financial literacy. So once you get into Everfi, then you're going to click on financial literacy. You're going to go into the program. And this is what it looks like, right? Okay. And all these little circles down here that are labeled, those are then the lessons. We are working on the first 4 this week. We're working on tax simulation, banking basics, employment and taxes, and budgeting. So this is where you want to be. So go into Clever, click on Everfi. We're in the financial literacy program. Once you're on that page, the 2 that we're focused on today are taxation simulation and employment and taxes. Okay. And I want to point out really quick, when you do the taxation simulation, so this is that first one with the laptop, it's going to be a little bit different of a grade than you normally do. Okay. It's a completion grade. So there are 5 scenarios, 5 people that you have to do the tax simulation for. So you go in and they take you through that person's individual circumstances and how it will impact their taxes. And you do that for 5 different people. And when you're done, you get a check mark for each one. So when you go to submit the tax simulation one, instead of having a quiz with a score, what you're going to submit is what you see here on the PowerPoint, this top right picture, okay? You're going to submit a screenshot of those 5 with the check marks. All right, and I'll keep this up the whole period, and this is also on the live session page, okay? So all these screenshots are on the live session page if you're not sure what does my screenshot need to look like, okay? So what I mean by that is when you go into our course and you go to the live session page, so go to modules, go to the live session page. So you go to this week's live session page, which is week 15. You can see there's the screenshot from Monday's class for the budgeting, or sorry, banking assignment. Here's today's, there's what the tax simulation screenshot should look like. And then here's what the employment and taxes screenshot. So you can see that the tax simulation one, it's a completion. So you don't get like a 60, 70, 80, 90. It's either a pass or a no pass. Okay. So in order to pass, get full credit, 25 points, you do the 5 simulations, have the 5 check marks, and then submit the screenshot so I can see the five check marks, okay, showing it's complete. Then you get full credit for it. The second one, the employment and taxes, and then that's a screenshot of what that screenshot should look like when you're done. You take the quiz, go through the lesson, take the quiz, and just like the other ones, you submit it so I can see your score, the tab, and your name. Okay, so we're working on those 2. If you have not finished the banking basics from Monday, then go ahead and get that one done, and then you can start working on one of the tax ones, okay? So let me know in the chat which one you're going to work on, and then you have the rest of the period to do it, all right? The tax simulation is locked. You probably have to do the banking one first then. It shouldn't be locked. So did you finish the banking basics one, Addison? Okay, so let me know in the chat. Okay, try logging out, logging back in. It shouldn't be locked. I don't know. I haven't had anybody say it's locked, so I'm not sure what could be causing that. So try logging out, logging back in, and see if it's just glitching. Let me know real quick in the chat. So are you going to work on banking? Are you going to work on the tax simulation? Or are you going to work on the employment one? If you're ahead, then you are welcome to work on the budgeting one if you want. Okay, so just let me know in the chat which one you're going to work on. If you have all 4 done, then you may work for another class. But otherwise, you need to be working on, use this time, right? The next 30 minutes, 25 minutes to get stuff done. So let me know which one are you working on? Tax, let's hear a few more. So if you don't have banking one done, then work on that one. It's okay, get that one done. Otherwise, then the tax simulation one is probably the faster of the 2 between tax and tax employment. So if you're debating between the 2, I would probably do the tax simulation first and then do employment and tax, but it's up to you. Okay, so use this time, get this done, get your screenshot submitted. All right, so that because these 4 assignments are worth 100 points. So I think that's almost like 2 projects. That's worth a lot of points. Okay. So use this time in class. Tomorrow, you'll also have about 30 minutes in class. All right. Either to finish those 3 or to start budgeting. So I'm focusing on budgeting tomorrow, but all 4 are due on Friday. And you had nothing due yesterday. So you've had time to space these out. So I know 4 things due in one day seems like a lot, but we worked on it in class every single day. And Tuesday, I didn't assign you anything else. So you had time to work on it as well. All right. So if you have questions, Addison, let me know if you're still having issues. Work on those. And then just remember that the screenshot for tax simulation is going to look a little different than the other ones. Okay. That it's a completion. So I just need to see those check marks that you've completed the 5 simulations, and you get full credit. Okay. And let me know if you have questions. Still locking you out. Okay. So try the employment and tax one. There's no reason it should be locking you out. I don't know anything about locking out so I'm not sure. And you did the banking basics. Okay. All right. So use this time work, stay in class so that you get attendance, and work on get banking basics done if you've not done that. Otherwise, start working on one of the 2 tax programs. And remember, we're in financial literacy. About 5 more minutes. Keep working and make sure that you get that screenshot and that you get it submitted in Canvas, Kay, when you finish one of your Everfi assignments. Go ahead, Owen.
I have a problem with from the one of the assignments. It won't let me continue.
Which one?
The first one, the
Banking basics?
no. I mean second one.
The tax simulation?
No, employee and tax.
Employment and tax. Okay, so are you like in the middle of it and it won't let you progress, or can you give me just a little bit more specific?
I don't know where I'm at exactly, but I'm in,
Okay.
kind of like one of the first parts.
All right. Let's see here. I haven't had anybody say they've had issues. Let me go into it, see if I can. What can you give me what the page looks like?
It looks like a piece of paper. It's the W-4 form.
Okay. Oh, the W-4 question? The W-4 tax form is used too? Is it that one?
Think so.
Okay. Let me see W-4. Okay. Keep clicking. Keep clicking. Because it looks like you're not progressing, but there's like 5 different questions, at least what I saw in my end. W-2. Like it won't let you.
It won't let me continue.
Did you try clicking a different option? Because there's no continue button. Like I'm clicking on responses and then it's taking, it's the assessment? Is that what you're in?
No, I'm at the form, read the.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so you got through the assessment. Are you in this portion right here?
No, I'm not.
Are you further than this, or you haven't seen this page yet?
I see this. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay.
Ultimately, you want to choose a
Keep
career
going.
that matches your.
Hi,
Keep going.
my name's Day. I'm the. Great.
Keep going. I'm
Read
here.
the instructions carefully.
Okay, let's see here.
This is where you would input your name, social security number.
Okay, it could be, did you let it play the whole ramble? You know, like you click on one.
There was no ramble.
Because there should be a ramble. See, watch.
This is where you would input your name, social security number, and address. This is where you would input your name.
So it's green. Are they turning green? I'm guessing like you have to click on each one maybe.
If you're married, you may choose to file
All of
your
them are
taxes.
green.
All of them are green. All right, let me see what
You
happens.
only need to fill out step 2. Since for the purpose of this exercise, you are single and do not have children. Step 4 is optional. Don't forget to sign your name. Your employer will fill out their name and address and your official start date.
Okay, and you clicked on those. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Thank you. Great job.
Okay, did you go through, did you just click on the arrow? Because there was no continue, but I clicked on the next arrow. Are you able to do that? If everything's green on the page, then go up by the home button, click on the next.
There is no arrow, and there is a continue thing at the bottom, but it just won't let me press it.
Read the instructions carefully to help you fill out your W-4 form. This is where if you're married, you only need to fill out. Since step 4 is optional, don't forget to sign your name. Your employer will fill out their name and address.
Because I'm in the teacher simulation one, and like there's no continue button. So you have a continue button, but it won't let you click it.
Yes.
Down here. Huh. Okay, try going back. I wonder if there's something that got missed. I don't know, because it's not showing. So I don't have a continue button here. So I just click the next button right there. But you don't have a next button you set up here by your home button.
No, I don't. I just have a back one.
Weird. Okay. And everything's showing green.
Yeah, I did all the things. I even put in the date as well.
Because they have you put it in, I'm guessing. Okay, because I'm just on like the teacher simulation.
Yeah, so I think I did all the requirements.
Okay. Yeah, I would. Okay. Let's see. What happens when I click home? Okay, it takes me back here.
Payday is tomorrow. Let's read. Your job offer states how much your employer. Payday is tomorrow. Your job offers pay.
Thank you.
Read the instructions carefully.
Great. Now it's time for you to.
Okay, maybe try clicking out and clicking back in. Because when I clicked out and I clicked back in, like I exited with the home button and went back in, it took me to like the next progression page. It'll take you back in and push resume and see maybe if it takes you off that page.
So go home and then come back?
Yeah, no, so yeah, so see like what I'm just trying, I'm not sure why it's not working for you. So try the home button and it takes me back to this page. And then I click back in it and I did, oh no, budgeting, wrong one.
Great.
Okay,
Now it's
home button, and then I click back into the program, employment and taxes. And then it says resume.
Payday is tomorrow.
And then it took me to the next progression page. So I wonder if that might help, if that might do it for you. Does that make sense? I can do it again if you need. Stick around real quick. I'll help you troubleshoot. Okay, everybody, class is ending. So I'll just end things really quick and stuff. So, and then Owen, let's see if that worked. Okay. So everything that's due on Friday, make sure you get Everfi, financial literacy, employment and taxes, tax simulation, budgeting, and banking. Those 4 done. Okay. This is posted in the Canvas announcements and also on the live session page. All right. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to be gone tomorrow on Friday. Everything's posted in the announcements. There's a sub tomorrow with the video, so you'll be able to keep working. So just getting these 4 done. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday. All right. Thank you. Owen, any luck? Bye. Thank you.
Hold on. Can I just